Welcome back everyone to Mount Blade Warband as the Faith Militant. Now I just want to say a huge thanks to all of you who have discussed the potential candidates for kingship in the last episode, in the comment section of the last episode. That was really cool to see all of your different opinions, and there was support for all three candidates, but in the end it was a pretty clear win for Sir Aemon the Humble, who will now be known as King Aemon the First of House Targaryen. We'll get into the details though, because we obviously had the High Sparrow supporting Aemon the Humble's claim to the Iron Throne. Then the first of the other council members to speak up was Septon Jonathan, representing the warrior, who also decided to support Aemon's claim. Then we had Septon Ben, Sir Vlad the Ruthless, Septon Eddard, all of them also rallying to support Aemon the Humble. The only council member who openly disagreed or openly proposed a different candidate was Septon Robin. He was in favor, and he still is, I suppose, in favor of King Renly Baratheon, and he made some valid arguments, obviously, but eventually he has been overruled. And I think he actually later on said that if he is to be overruled, which, happened to be the case, he will of course also support Aemon. So he's still with us, thankfully, and he even devised a plan to help Aemon's claim. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then obviously there is still the popular vote, which is obviously influencing the vote of Septa Unella. This one was also won by Aemon the Humble with 52%. So that's actually not as strong as you would expect, because Aegon Targaryen, who was not able to convince any of the members of the Most Devout, he got 43% of the votes in the straw poll. So that is pretty impressive, actually. And I would have actually, waited until I recorded this next episode here, if it had been any closer. Like, for example, if any of the other members of the Most Devout would have supported either Aegon or Renly, then I would have waited a little bit more to see, because perhaps the vote of Septa Unella could have been swayed. But it was pretty clear, with 5 people directly supporting Aemon's claim that he is going to be our chosen king. So there he is. I think I will quickly get out of here to show you what's going on, because obviously we have quite a few things that we need to do now. Obviously we are now, we've been independent the entire time, but it was just, we were kind of flying under the radar. But now that we have proclaimed our own king, things are obviously a bit more important. Everything we do is more important, because we are now in the fight for the Iron Throne, more directly involved, I suppose. So yeah, let's have a quick look at our party, because as I have said, we now have no longer Sir Aemon the Humble. Of course, he's still, we can still call him that, but he is also our king, King Aemon the First of House Targaryen. Obviously, he still has the armor that he's been crafted. I also instructed Septon Eddard to create a new crown for our king, and he's working on that. He's probably going to be done relatively soon. He's very quick, but for now, Aemon will have to make do without a crown. So I will actually go ahead and give you your regular helmet back. Yeah, actually, that's that one. Now, your keen eyes may have already picked up some other things, and that's something I want to talk about immediately. Right now. The first thing that King Aemon did when it became clear that he would be our chosen king, was that he knighted his good friend Septon Jonathan. I mean, any knight can make a knight, and he decided to knight Sir Jonathan and make him Sir Jonathan of House Day, and raise him to the position of Lord Commander of his Kingsguard. So congratulations, Sir Jonathan. You are now officially a knight, and you are still dressed as the leader of the Poor Fellas. We'll need to talk about this, but let's first actually talk about your equipment. Now, as I said, some people have probably already seen it. I have, I found some Kingsguard armor. I mean, I suppose Stannis Baratheon had his own Kingsguard, so that's kind of the reason why we have some armor lying around here. And we'll give that to Sir Jonathan here, just so that he looks a bit more like a knight. Obviously, it's also much better than the stuff he has right now. Actually, the helmet isn't better, but that's okay. It's good enough. Now, obviously, I also would like to give him a horse now that he's a knight, but he can't actually ride, so he has to learn about that. We have this timid corsair, which only requires a riding skill of 1. So in the next level, we should be able to make you ride this horse. But you also wanted to get rid of your light spear, and I will already give you a lance that you can use from horseback. And once you have your horse, it's not necessary just yet, but once you have your horse, you won't really be able to use your Pavis shield. That cannot be used on horseback. So there we got a new shield for you. So yeah, that's pretty cool. As I said, we'll once you have leveled up, we'll be able to give you a horse. The rest, I guess we'll keep this stuff for now. Now, obviously, with Sir Jonathan becoming a knight and being raised to the position of Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, he is no longer going to be able to lead the poor fellows. He has other duties then. So he's gonna have to be replaced, and also with that, with the leadership of the poor fellows, he will renounce his position as representation of the warrior in the Council of the Most Devout. He will move on to the small council of King Aemon Targaryen, so he is basically the third member. If you remember, King Aemon made the High Sparrow his hand of the king. He made Sir Theodan the True the Master of War and Marshal, and he also made Sir Jonathan his Lord Commander of the Kingsguard and just regular advisor. So he's no longer going to be on the Council of the Most Devout, and that means a spot is open. The spot of the warrior that will then lead the poor fellows. For now, since Jonathan cannot actually ride, he will continue to lead the poor fellows, just for now, and Aemon, I think, will put you back into the warrior sons for now, just so that we have that. But yeah, as soon as he can ride, we will need to find a replacement for him, so that we have another person leading the poor fellas. I already have someone in mind, but I guess we can wait. It doesn't have to happen immediately. Now, as I mentioned, Septon Robin, he was initially voting for Renly Baratheon as king, but he also, as I said, he's been overruled, and he will accept the decision of the council and submit to that decision, and he has now also pledged fealty to King Aemon Targaryen. And as I said, he came up with an idea that could strengthen our position overall. So for that, let's quickly leave the party here, because right now, I guess if we look at the situation, we have several factions. We have kind of in the south, it's actually kind of nice how these factions work together. We have in the very south, ruling from the Arbor, we have Aegon of technically House Targaryen, but let's just say he's Aegon of Essos. And we have House Martell ruling over Dorne. They're in the very south, this faction. Then we have the Reach under House Tyrell and the Stormlands under Renly Baratheon ruling here. Obviously, Ashford and Templeton has already fallen to other factions, but they're kind of one faction. Then we have the Ironborn under Balon Greyjoy going for independence. And then we have the faction of the Riverlands supporting their King of the Trident and King in the North, Robb Stark, who's obviously also being supported by his northern bannermen. And then, last but not least, we have the King Beyond the Wall, as he calls himself, Mance Rayder, who has captured all of the fortifications of the Night's Watch, and also some very important castles, like, Carhold and Last Hearth of the north. All of these factions are at war with us. Actually, that's not true. The southern factions are not at war with us just yet, but that will happen soon enough. But basically, all of these factions are at war with someone, with some other faction. The only faction that is currently not at war and has not declared for anyone is the Vale, as well as the Sisters, who are, part of the Vale, technically. So, we need to we need to get some allies, because obviously we only have Berengar Parent as Lord of the Claw, and you know that's kind of it. That's all the Faith Militant has in terms of lords right now. So this probably isn't enough to stand against the entire might of the rest of Westeros, even though they're obviously also divided amongst themselves. But we need some more support. So obviously the Vale would be the best alternative, the only really option that we have left. We have really good relations with the Vale. Many knights of the Vale have joined us in our struggle. Many even many commoners have joined the Faith Militant, the poor fellas here from the Vale. So a lot of recruits are coming out of the Vale. We have really good relations with the Septons here, and just with the common people, but also with the lords. So this would naturally be the best ally that we can get. Obviously, one trump that, well, trump, do you say trump? No, you don't. Triumph, I guess, that we have, or one asset that we have, is a young and I would also say attractive king. And of course, the first idea, or the first thing that comes to mind, would be a marriage alliance between King Aemon Targaryen and the Vale. And of course, the widow Erin, Lady Lysa, is I suppose ready for marriage, but that was something that our young king quickly dismissed. He was not very interested in marrying the Lady Lysa, and you know, as we have heard reports that also the Lady Lysa is not very interested in marrying the king either, even though it would be a great match for her. So I think what we will do, we'll send off Septon Robin, who has devised a plan to convince the Lords of the Vale to join us, and we will let him do his thing. I don't really want to talk of his plans just yet, because, you know, they might not work. We'll have to see. But he's a Valeman himself, so I feel like he's the best person to send. So we'll talk to him, and I think there is an option. Where is that? I'd like to ask you something. Yeah, I suppose you know that Aemon is the king of these lands. Okay, so let's see what he says. As long as you praise the heavens, nothing will stand in Aemon's way. Okay, I think he thinks that Aemon is a fine ruler. Well, that's great. So would you support his cause? Of course you will. When you keep on saying the morning prayers, I taught you would go to hell and back for you. Okay, interesting. A ruler who knows his faith is one worth supporting. Well, you know, this is just great. Obviously, this I'm very happy that this works out. This has happened to work out so well. But yeah, of course, the faith is the most important. In fact, something that I just want to mention here, when I read out the letter that Aemon has presented to the members of the Faith Militant, he actually signed this with Sir Aemon the Humble of House Targaryen, rightful king of the Andals, the Royne and the First Men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, and protector of realm and faith. So this is the first time that a king openly, I guess, calls himself not only protector of the realm, but also protector of the faith. So I'm pretty sure that Robin and many other faithful knights and lords would like to support Aemon here. So anyways, yes, of course, we'll do that. And yep, we convert all of the realm to the right religion. Yes, that is our plan. You're even more ambitious than me. If you could give me a few weeks, I'll travel among the true believers and spread your word. Well, that is exactly what we want you to do. So very good. You go ahead and do that, Robin. You go through the Vale and spread the word of King Aemon's glorious rule. And obviously, Septon Robin, he's going to talk to the minor lords. He's going to speak with the commoners, with other Septons, and he will try and rally the small folk, you know, behind us, because obviously they like the Faith Militant, but they don't know of King Aemon's kingship yet. So you know, that's how we will try and get the small folk on our side. But we also need to convince the lords. So we'll go to Lord's Hall. We'll quickly have to talk to the Hand of the King now, but also the representation of the Father on Earth, the High Sparrow. And I want to dispatch an emissary to Lord Nestor Royce of the Vale. Now, obviously, Lady Lysa Arryn is ruling the Vale, but she has, she's not very interested in ruling, it seems. And, Nestor Royce, the Lord of the Gates of the Moon, he is now sort of in charge of the Vale. So we'll have to talk to him. And I've been thinking about sending him a gift, but I don't know if that is really the way of the Faith Militant. We could obviously do that, but I think something else that we will do, we could express my goodwill from one monarch to another, but that's not really true. There's only one monarch, and that monarch is King Aemon. So, Nestor is simply a lord. So I think what we will do, we will tell him that we want to conclude a non-aggression treaty. We sort of already have that, but I think that once you conclude a non-aggression treaty, you can increase this, or you can evolve that into a trade agreement, and then into an alliance, and that is what we want. We want the Vale on our side, so let's go ahead and do that, and we'll obviously send the person that is most skilled in persuasion. We could obviously send the king himself, or his Lord Commander. But no, I think we will send Septon Ben, who will represent the mother, the aspect of the mother. So yeah, I want Septon Ben to do this. He has a persuasion of 5, so I hope that this will be enough. Okay, so that's all for now. All the things that we had to do. Okay, so let's quickly check out. We have talked about our alliances. We have obviously also talked about our new Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, and we've given him some new gear. And now, yeah, I guess we should talk about the new conquests, or the new campaign that we start. I think it's crucial that we get the Crown lands under our control. So Hull would obviously be a great place to take back from the north. The problem is they had about, I think, 30 elite northern archers and some 64 Carhold longbowmen. Pretty powerful troops. And especially with Septon Robin gone now, I don't feel like that our Maiden Sentinels would be capable of defeating them. So, without great leadership, they wouldn't do too well, and then our poor fellas would basically just get shot to death. So Hull is not really an option. For now, we are obviously not at war with Renly, and I think I've been thinking about this. I said that as soon as we proclaim Aemon king, we would obviously declare war on, Renly and Aegon. But I think we can hold off on that just a little bit longer, because obviously these two factions are very busy with each other right now. So I think we'll wait a little bit more. We'll probably try and take King's Landing from the north first. Then we will officially crown Aemon, and then I think we can declare the war on Renly and Aegon. At least that is my plan. Also, obviously we have Dragonstone, the ancestral keep of House Targaryen, and I've been thinking about giving that to King Aemon, but we'll hold off on that just a little bit more, because I think, let's quickly actually check out his skills. I think he still has a bit to learn. I don't want him to become a lord in his own right just yet, obviously. He's our king, but I think he should stay with the Faith Militant just a little bit longer so he can improve his overall skills. So yeah, we'll keep him around a little bit longer. So yeah, we have sent our envoys, Septon Robin and Septon Ben, to deal with the Vale, and now we obviously still have the option to marry, and that's something that I will obviously not be deciding. King Aemon, he will decide himself who he wants to marry. He already has some people in mind, but that's going to be entirely his own decision. Obviously, once he decides to marry one of the great lords, that would be the best. They might even join us. So I think the river lords are the best bet. One of the river lords is the best bet, because they could bring some of their holdings with them and support us. One thing I thought about was maybe we could convince Jonas Bracken, the Lord of Stonehenge, that he would join us and pledge himself to King Aemon. And what we could do is we could promise him the lands of House Blackwood, Raventree Hall, And that would work quite well in two ways. First of all, the Blackwoods need to be removed anyways. They're followers of the old gods, something that we are obviously against. And, there's a ancient rivalry between House Bracken and House Blackwood, so we would naturally side with House Bracken. And I think this might be enough to convince them to join us, because the Lords of Riverrun, the Tullys, they've often, they've always tried to mediate between these two families. So if we were to offer the Brackens that they could get all of the lands of the Blackwoods, I think they would easily come to join us. So that's something that we need to do as well, but I don't know if we have any other emissaries. We could send Septa Unella. Let's actually quickly check something out. Let's check out reports? No, Kingdom reports. I've already checked this out. I think we had pretty good relations with Jonas Bracken. Let me see. Yes. So we actually have plus 28 relations with Jonas. We actually also have plus 25 relations with King Robb Stark, but this is probably more important. Plus 28 relations, I think that's a solid foundation. We could probably convince him to join us. That's obviously something to think about as well. But I think before we do that, we need to conquer a few more things here. So I think maybe Rosby is next, or maybe Maidenpool, the Antlers, King's Landing, all of these things. If we have this under control, basically all of the Crown lands, then we can ask the Brackens to join us. But yeah, I think that was all I really wanted to cover here. We once again didn't really go forward in time, but I promise we will do that in the next episode. We'll probably, I guess we'll wait for word back from the Eyrie, and we'll see what Septon, Ben, and Robin can find out. And in the meantime, I will probably just scout the areas here. We might attack the Antlers or Rosby. Perhaps we're even going to prepare our invasion of King's Landing. We'll have to see. But yeah, one of these things. Anyways, that was it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.